I'm currently reading 3 books. I don't want to go into the new year with half-finished books. I'm also really behind my reading goal and I want to complete that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I digress. First book I'm reading is A Gentleman in Moscow, a historical fiction about a count who essentially gets put on house arrest at a hotel. This was right after the Russian Revolution, I think it was. So the new form of government, I guess, at the time needed to punish him on the fact that he is an aristocrat. So it follows his adventures in his new, very shrunken world of the hotel. The setup of that sounds really serious, but it's actually a lot more humorous than I was expecting. I didn't expect the tone to be what it is, but it's fun. I'm having a good time with it. The problem is that it is just a really dense book and the writing is just so tiny. I'm so used to reading on my phone or my Kindle where I can turn the font size up. I'm also annotating this book, and every time I annotate, it just takes longer. There genuinely is just a lot of things that I find interesting in this book that I want to highlight, that I want to call out, but I am, like I said, hoping to finish this before the year is up. Hoping to finish this in this reading vlog actually, but we'll see. Next up, I'm listening to Strange the Dreamer on my Libby. I am about 64% of the way through of this audiobook. This is a very long audiobook, one of the longest I've listened to. It's about like 20 hours or so. I don't know how to really describe what this story is about. It is a Laini Taylor book, and if you're familiar with her works, they're quite lyrical and they are fantasy, but they read a lot less action-packed than other YA fantasies. I actually don't know if Strange the Dreamer is YA. I know her other series that I read is. They're just a lot more pensive, thoughtful than other fantasies, which means that everything takes a lot longer to get through. They're slower paced essentially. The writing is very beautiful, though I am enjoying it. I don't love it. I think I thought I loved it more than I did. It was the same with the trilogy. I think her writing is amazing, but I just get a little bit impatient reading it. And I think that's why I tried to listen to the audio of this so it can go a little bit faster. But even then, it's still a bit like meandering. And the third book I'm currently reading is also on my Libby. It is an ebook, Unforgiven by Sarah Barry. So I got the 4th and final book in this series given to me by the publisher HQ. So I was really grateful for that. And I wanted to read the rest of the series before I got to that. I think technically you don't need to read the books in order, but I just prefer to. I prefer to read from the start. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm about, I think only 6% or so of the way through. Yeah, so I've only just started this. It's a thriller. I don't 100% know what it's about. I like to go into books fairly blind and I'm not far enough in to give a summary. I do know it's a detective kind of story. The tagline is once a victim, she's now a vigilante. Sounds really intriguing. It's set in Australia. And yeah, I will come back with more updates on that once I've read more. And that is it. 3 books is actually a lot less than what I normally read at once. I tend to have a lot of books on the go, but I recently finished a couple of them, so I was able to tick them off my list. I'm trying not to start any new books before I finish these because, like I said, I really want to make sure I don't go into 2025 with any half-finished books. Anyway, enough yapping, let's get on to reading. So I just read a part of the book where the author sort of breaks the fourth wall here with this footnote, which goes on for the rest of this page, and then all across this page, and then some of this page as well. And I can't tell if it is from the author's point of view, like the actual author, or the kind of omnipresent narrator of this book. I assume it's from the author's perspective. But anyway, it mentions what writing tropes that his fellow Russian authors tend to employ in their books. And it kind of uses that to tell this other kind of mini story about a character that briefly comes into play. I thought that was a really fun way to do it. It was like a little interlude. I've never seen that done before. I think a lot of writing decisions in this book are done quite carefully to help really move the story along and help set the tone and themes of the book. And I really enjoy that. Even though the book is taking me a while to get through, I'm still really enjoying just the art of this story. So yeah, just wanted to check in and talk about that because I thought it was interesting. The only reading I've done so far is listening to some of Strange the Dreamer on my walk today. I am now about 69% of the way through. Today, I'm hoping to read more than I did yesterday, but I'm starting a bit late. I've been working on this like book gift guide for Australian books on my Instagram, so that took up more time than I thought. I feel like whenever I'm on Canva, I end up spending way longer in there than I should. But yeah, it's been a slow day, but we are going to get a move on with it now. That's it. That's all I have to say. I am not sure how I feel about all the time jumps. I think part of it is because I'm not actually sure what the plot of this book is, what's the main driving force behind it. Every few chapters or so, it skips like a year, and I just feel like I'm missing a lot because I thought the story was going to recount the Count's days in the hotel after being exiled, but it just keeps skipping years. And I assume that if we just focus on every day that passes, it might get a little bit repetitive, but I don't know, I just feel like we're missing big chunks of story right now. We're not even halfway through yet, so I am curious as to how this plays out. But yeah, that's just my little hesitation with the book at the moment. I've been reading a lot more of this book over the last couple of days than I have over the last couple of months. So that's progress. Today's Monday. If I read at least 75 pages each day, I'll be able to finish this by Wednesday. Then with Unforgiven, I am probably a little bit more behind on this one. I'm 20% of the way through, but it's actually quite a long book. The writing isn't like my favorite, but I am intrigued by the storyline. Though, there was an instance of she let out a breath she didn't know she was holding, which really surprised me for several reasons. One, I didn't realize we're still using that sentence unironically. And then the second thing is I thought this phrase was only used in romance books. But here we have it in a completely different genre, again, used completely unironically. I really feel like we should retire that phrase. I think as soon as you include an overused phrase like that, it's just hard to take the book seriously. Anyway, I looked past it and it was fine, but I did have a moment to just be like, why? So that one, I don't think I'm going to finish by the end of the vlog because I do want to focus mainly on this. And then we have Strange the Dreamer, which I have about 5 hours left of the audiobook. The problem with audiobooks is that I tend to listen to them in very specific situations. Otherwise, I get distracted and I zone out. So I like to listen to them when I'm going on walks or when I'm doing stuff around the house that I can't read a physical book while doing. But lately, I have been watching YouTube videos instead. I finished 100 books this year, which I'm really, really happy about. So I have decided that it's time to officially accept that I won't meet my reading goal of 120 books. There's no way I'm finishing 20 books by the end of the year. But that's okay because 100 books is still a huge accomplishment. I just thought I'd be reading a lot more graphic novels and listening to more audiobooks than I did. And that's why I had such a high number. But anyway, as long as we finish this year with no unfinished books, I'll be happy. That's my only goal for the rest of the year. All the chapters in this book start with an A, like the title. I don't know what this means exactly. I wonder whether it's going to reveal itself at the end of the book or whether I'm going to have to look it up myself. Also, there was a part in this book I read last night that made me really sad. Even though this book is lighthearted in tone overall, it still does cover a period in history where things were very volatile politically, and not everything that was happening was necessarily good for the citizens of Russia. I'm sorry if the lighting keeps changing. The sun and the clouds are being really weird right now. I think the author does a really good job at conveying these events that are happening around the characters and to the characters in a way that helps us see these events from an objective point of view, while also understanding the real impact it has on the characters. It's not fully criticizing or condemning the events that occurred, but it's not all rosy either. There's a great balance there. So I really appreciate that aspect of it. I really liked that as a backdrop for the book. Also, I mentioned there are more time skips than I was expecting, and I think that's because I was expecting it to be covering the life of the Count and the changes to his life in the immediate aftermath of his house arrest. I had no idea it was going to be spanning such a wide time frame of his life. I think there are good and bad parts to that being what the book is about. The bad part is because I think I was expecting to see more development and interactions between him and certain characters, but because of the time skips, we don't get this. On the other hand, we do get other development and relationships interactions with the Count and other people that I wasn't expecting because of the time frame. Every time someone was introduced, I thought it was going to go one way and then it doesn't. So I do like that. It was surprising me, but there are some parts that I'm like, oh, I wish we could have seen more of this aspect before the time skip. A sad part last night, but it's kind of balanced by a lot of other moments that are quite wholesome. I don't know if wholesome is the right word, but there are moments of goodness, I think, that really help you fall in love with the characters and help you feel a little bit more hopeful after reading all the sadder parts. Anyway, I'm hoping to finish this soon for this reading vlog. I need to upload it on Thursday. I'm definitely going to finish it by the end of the year, but I really do hope to finish this soon so that I can actually express my final thoughts, but we will see. But the truth is, no matter how much time passes, those we have loved never slip away from us entirely. There's another footnote here, and this time it's about the history or the context explanation behind something that one of the characters just said. And I don't know, I still really love it each time. There have been many different footnotes, all for different reasons, and every time I read one, I just get really happy. I think it just adds another dimension to the story, and it's really fascinating to read. It's not like clunky, it's not excessive, it's not very dense or anything like that. It's like telling history in a mini story within this bigger story, and I just really enjoy that. I don't know if this is like a new favorite book or anything like that, but I am a huge fan of the author's style and the way he writes. So I definitely will be checking out more of his works. I'm pretty sure the sequel to this came out recently, or maybe just another one of the author's books. I'm not sure if it's actually a sequel, but yeah, I'm really appreciating this style. I did not end up finishing any of the books that I set out to finish at the start of this vlog, but that's okay because I made a lot of progress. I gotten a lot of reading done. Life just gets in the way sometimes. So I did put my daily summaries throughout the vlog, but I want to talk about the actual progress that I made for each of these books. So for A Gentleman in Moscow, I'm pretty proud of this, even though I did want to finish it yesterday. The amount of words on each page, it's just so many. It is an incredibly heavy, dense book in terms of the amount of text there is. So just had to take it easy on myself. I started A Gentleman in Moscow at the start of this vlog at 19% of the way through the book. I've been reading this book for a while as well, and I was making very, very slow progress, but I'm happy to say that after 7 days, I got all the way up to 79%. I am incredibly happy about that. More specifically, I started on page 88 at the start of this vlog, and now I'm at about 365. For Strange to Dreamer, I started at 61% and I got up to 74%. And then with Unforgiven, I started at 5% and got up to 22%. So yeah, that is my my progress. I feel like I'm on track now to finish these books by the end of the year at least. I'm very close to finishing A Gentleman in Moscow. It's been a ride with that book, and I'm really glad that I finally found the time to sit down and read it properly, because that book deserves a lot of your attention. Like, you can't rush through it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this chill reading vlog. I just kind of want to put less pressure on myself with reading. Reading should be fun, not something to be stressed about. If I don't want to pick up a book at a certain time, it's okay not to. So I hope that's sort of what you got from this as well. I know as the year is coming to an end, we just want to rush through all the books and meet our reading goal, but it's okay to let life happen to you, and no one's keeping score on how well your reading is going. If you are enjoying yourself with the books you're reading at the pace that you're reading, then just keep at it. Thanks for watching. See you soon.